Okay, so we have an update on the Eternia's Choice from Mattel Creations with the Snake Lair. The Snake Lair has been postponed. So this is the email that we received earlier today. Dear Motu fan, Eternia has been buzzing since we unveiled the Origins Snake Lair at San Diego Comic-Con. Some of you loved it, some did not. We appreciate each and every one of you, and we want to get this right. To do so, we are postponing the launch of our crowdfund to incorporate your feedback. We believe in the Snake Lair. We know you do too because you voted for it in Eternia's Choice last year. Snake Lair will be back and better than ever. Stay tuned for details. Thank you for your patience and understandings. The Mattel Creations team. Of course, the brand manager and Buddy are sitting up here. I don't know what their names are, and apparently I'm too far into this to show you. But anyway, they're basically saying the same thing, right? That they're postponing it because it didn't quite go as they thought. I'm assuming that means that not enough people voted that they would pay $300 for it, meaning that they'd have to shrink it down anyway. And also that people probably just straight out said in the survey that they did not like it. And it was big enough of a number of people that they decided to redesign it. So anyway, that's, I guess, the update on there. We'll see what they come up with the next time that they unveil it. I'm going to guess it's going to be closer to what we originally got. I think they can add some of the snake detailing, but keeping it like the original artwork we saw is probably for the best. We'll go stop back by Toy Arc's site again so we can take a look at the images here. Because once again, this was the original design that was done in like 2013 for the Classics mini comics. And I still like this one. I think it looks great. Now, Scott Netlick from Spectre Creative had mentioned something, and I think this might have also been something that bothered people. So this Snake Lair was designed like a playset in the 80s would have been. I see a lot of people complaining about it, not of the version they showed not being a clamshell like the classic playsets were, which all three of them kind of were, if I remember correctly. I never had the Fright Zone, but I believe that one also folded in half. But the thing that Scott had pointed out was that the playsets also had that handle so kids could carry it, which you can see the handle up here, right? I think that's another thing that just kind of bothered people and why they don't think it looks like something that would have been released in the 80s. With, of course, Eternia being kind of a different beast altogether. However, I've also noticed a lot of people bringing up a certain conspiracy theory here that Mattel had planned to do the Snake Lair all along and that the vote was just to make it feel like fans got into it. Now, I will say straight out again, I did vote for the Snake Lair as one of my two choices. But we also had the Horde tank, which would have been pretty cool. The Fright Zone, which, I mean, I wouldn't have voted for this one anyway because this should just be released regular mainstream line, you know, like Castle Grayskull and Snake Mountain. Yeah, there are some improvements here, but still. I guess if they turn this into like an actual thing and not just a puppet, that would be kind of cool, the snake. But then we have the Horde Tower here. I can't remember. The Terror Tower, I believe is what they called it. With Horde's throne room. Hordak's throne room. And the Attack Track, which is the other one. This is actually the one I wanted more than the Snake Lair, if I'm being perfectly honest. Especially if it came with the mini Attack Track, you know? But see, this is something that somebody had mentioned. You know, they talked about how Mattel had done that. Had been planning on just doing the Snake Lair all along. And I had thought, you know, yeah, people would, if people had seen the final result, they would probably not have voted for the Snake Lair and would have voted for one of the Horde things. And then I realized, as far as a conspiracy theory goes, you have 3 separate Horde items here and 1 Eternian item, right? The Attack Track. That means chances are, even though you could vote for 2 items, they probably just still split the vote between the 3 Horde items. If they had just one of these Horde items on here, like the tower, or even, well, I'm not sure again. I don't know how many people had the same attitude I did about the Fright Zone, thinking that it should just be released normally and not through a creations thing. They'd have to do a lot of improvements to it. Well, I guess if they did that with the slime pit attached to it, that might help and make it more creations worthy, or the tank. But with all three of these, even with 2 votes, people having 2 votes, and if everybody voted for 2 of the horde things, it still wouldn't have gotten quite as much because you spread out the vote. So you know what? When people do say that they think it was a setup, this could be an explanation for that, honestly. They were aiming people towards the Snake Lair, and most likely, and then possibly also the attack track. And I can't remember if they actually announced what got second place or not. But anyway, I just wanted to bring that up because I thought it was interesting to see the number of people who just have that conspiracy theory. And it wouldn't be the first time that Mattel has rigged a fan vote. If y'all remember back in the Classics era, they ended the voting early on the fans' choice for the figure years ago when we got Geldor. And of course, the conspiracy theory there, which seems to be actually fairly likely, was that the voting ended 2 days early because people who had done the last minute orders and started voting were voting for Illuminara over Geldor, and that she was coming in real fast and might have actually beat Geldor. And Mattel straight out did not want to make her as a character. Because even if you look at the description of her, it was basically just going to be a new head on a Tila body, where everybody else had a bunch of new parts. They weren't even going to give her like new equipment, if I remember correctly. I wish I still had that information, but Matty Collector's site is kind of defunct and you can't really get that information anymore. Just saying, I don't know if they really did plan for just the Snake Lair. Like I said, it's a conspiracy theory. It's just that it's happened before, with them having 3 horde items as one of the choices here. That could actually cause the vote to go for one of the other 2 items more likely. And the Snake Lair was probably the most likely of the ones because people kind of wanted the play sets. That's it. I just thought I'd bring that up since everybody else is talking about the pause or the postponement of the crowdfunding starting and the rework. I figured I'd mix in the conspiracy stuff too, just for the fun of it. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this. Please feel free to like, comment, and subscribe. And I know these Snake Lair videos actually do get a lot of comments, so this should be fun. Peace and love.